Go.
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of Nerdy Entertainment Syndicate. We're coming to you from, this time, our headquarters in a future dystopian world.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Los. And God, Drew, I can't believe that the Joker is a new Batman.
Crazy.
What a world.
Crazy, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it? But one good thing about this world that we live in now, no internet nerd rage.
No, there's a new law. I believe if you rage out, you get shot.
That's nice. So nobody complains about anything anymore.
No, now everybody's on their tippy toes,
Everybody
sweating
just-
because they want to break through and release, but they can't.
Everybody just enjoys things as it comes, and then they're free to criticize, but
Mhm.
nothing before.
You mean logically criticize something instead of just, just blurt shit out
Yeah,
just
before.
because?
Yeah, like the way it was before, maybe like in the 40s and the 50s of the 1900s.
Where you can reach out to your friends and not in the world really care or knew about it
Where you didn't have a
because there was
screen,
no internet.
a screen name to hide behind.
Oh, man. So what's going on, Drew?
Not much. It's been a slow news week.
It has. I mean, like we said before, there's busy weeks, there's slow weeks.
But there were a couple big bits. Slow news, but big bits of like cool stuff.
Yeah, and this cool stuff is mostly personal stuff that we experienced and done.
Yeah, we had a good, cool weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much this holiday weekend, Memorial Day. We took the day to do some. I was calling it the whole day the comic shop hop.
And we've always talked about it. It's like, let's just visit a shop. But it was pretty cool
Yeah,
seeing.
you came up with the idea a while ago.
And it was cool to see all these, different shops and how they're tailored differently.
Yeah, just getting out of town, visiting other shops,
Mm-hmm.
seeing different things, spending
And
some money.
one thing that we noticed that is pretty much off topic, how deserted the streets and freeways and
That was weird.
everything really was.
It didn't seem like a usual empty holiday. It seemed a lot emptier.
It seems like everybody's at the
Like the
beach or the
roads,
pool or
yeah.
throwing parties and we're nerding out.
Like, we drove all the way out to like L.A., Hollywood area.
Mm-hmm.
Less traffic than usual on a holiday.
I mean, we hit the typical 101 traffic, but it dissipated rather quickly.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I mean, you'll always gonna hit once you hit on the 101 by itself. You're gonna hit that traffic because there's three converging freeways there,
The 101, the 110, and like the 5 area.
and then just
like
the streets
10,
coming from
yeah.
Soto and everything. But then it dissipates because everybody's able to go to the streets they want to go to.
Local references.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a fun day. We went out to, being out there, even like we went to City Walk,
Yeah.
and it seemed emptier for a holiday.
And it wasn't until we were walking back to the car that I was like, this parking lot is empty. It's always full, regardless of
yeah,
the day.
like I told you when we got there, we should have taken advantage, gotten into Universal Studios. Since we're here, get an annual pass. Because it didn't even going up. I did notice it seemed a little emptier than normals. Like, I wonder if the park inside is a lot emptier. So that would have been cool.
I think it's going to reflect the well the park was. But like I said, mental note.
That was cool. We stopped off at the Hollywood, the Meltdown Comics. That was your
Right.
first time there.
Yeah, and it's
I'd been there plenty of times.
world famous Meltdown Comics where they have podcasts, shows, comedians, everything.
It's a comic shop, and it was rented out. Like this back area, like
Mhm.
kind of theater area, was rented out by Chris Hardwick, who owns the Nerdist Industries,
Right.
and they have like a little booth up top where they record podcasts. And
Do
I'd been there plenty of
classes
times.
and
I've seen
everything.
plenty of shows and
Mhm.
comedy shows. I like going to that spot. But as a comic shop overall, like it's decent. It's pretty cool. And like I like it.
Shop experience, number wise, what do you want to give it, a 1 out of 10?
Like a rating.
Yeah.
I never thought about rating it. I like it because I actually go there pretty often. When I'm out in that area, I
Mhm.
make sure to usually stop there.
As far as like for rating, I would say it was a good solid a 7 out of 10.
Cool.
The pros, what I liked about it was how they had a lot of classic retro figures, which I'm a big fan of. Like, you know, you seen my collection of
The
you know,
collectibles.
toys, collectibles, and everything. Just retro stuff, new stuff, and it's just it's great because it encompasses a lot of fields. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and they had a wide variety of toys as well, like just regular toys for your kids, comics, graphic novels, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a good range of stuff. One thing I noticed this time, they used to have like a little section for like a video game area. That seems to have been cleared out. They don't
It
do
seems
that
like there's
anymore.
a lot of empty space, like they're renovating.
They're renovating, redoing something. Yeah.
I mean, but I honestly, I don't know. You've been there before. A little bit underwhelmed. I thought it was gonna be a little bit. I was thinking out of this world kind of deal. To be honest with you.
No, yeah, I've like my first time there. I was kind of like, oh, this is it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was more so because of the excitement of the Nerdist area in the back,
Right. Right.
the whole deal. But it's a decent
But
shop.
it-
Like I told you, like on
mhm.
the way there, I didn't hype it up. I don't
No,
know if
you
noticed,
didn't.
I
You
hype- I
didn't.
just
You
told
didn't.
It's like it's a cool
And
shop.
this is just for me from seeing their lines and everything like that. But we saw the owner. He seemed pretty down to earth, laid back guy wearing shorts and no big deal. And I mean that shop's been there for years and
Yeah.
so but it was okay. I mean it underwhelmed me because it was just myself hyped it up just
Okay.
from seeing stuff like that. But it wasn't too
All
bad
right.
at all.
It's a good shop. I go
Mhm.
there all the time.
So that
when
was
I'm
one of
out in
4.
that area.
And I think I think I put him at my number 2. No, number 3. That was my number 3 shop
Okay.
out of the 4 reviews.
I didn't. Yeah, I just wanted the experience of going out, checking out of the shops, checking out. I didn't really rank them or
Mhm.
number them. I liked them all.
Personally, yeah,
Um,
I gotta rank them. I have to be like,
well-
all right, something I hit.
Well, from there we went then to City Walk because my previous visit to City Walk, I saw that shop, Things from Another World, and that had always been there before, and you were familiar with it,
Right,
In a different,
right. And that
different
shop's
spot.
been there, God, for years. And I mean, honestly, it's not too far fetched to say it's a staple of Universal City Walk.
As long as I can remember ever going there, it's been there.
Yeah,
but
and it used to be a little shop.
uh-huh.
This is what I knew before. Drew here told me how it is now. It was like a little Subway shop, and when I mean Subway shop, it's just long, like
yeah, like
long corridor kind of deal.
yeah, you walk in, it's not a wide shop.
It's just a long shop, but with
goes-
amazing amount of statues, comic books, graphic novels, T-shirts. I mean, for a small shop that it really had a lot of things that you wouldn't think a
Yeah.
shop would have.
It was one of my favorites every time I'd gone to Universal. But then that last time, noticed that they have a new spot now,
Right.
and it's a pretty big. It's a bigger shop.
Wow, it
and
blew my mind.
and
Yeah.
it's really nice. A lot of collectibles, good selection of graphic novels and
Right, right.
comics and T-shirts and statues and a lot of cool stuff. I love that store. It was really cool.
Yeah,
I like the upgrade that they had.
and it was. I mean, because now they have space.
A lot of space. Yeah.
And what I liked about it too, as well, is that it's staying really modern, very very current.
Mm-hmm.
Because with a smaller shop, you really couldn't expand too much with what they had. So
Yeah.
they had a lot of retro stuff with mild current stuff, But now you see their Funko Pops, their collectibles, and since they're in a main shop, they got appeal for the masses, and they had a steady stream of clients going in and buying stuff.
There's a
there.
lot of people in there. Yeah.
So, but I liked it. It was really cool. It showcased all their statues, which I like when they showed stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that shop. So that was our second stop. Then we had an intermission. We stopped and ate. Stopped at the world famous Pink's hot dogs.
Right. Before that, like I said, for that one, I gave it a rating of
Okay, you're reading.
9 out of 10.
That was a good shop.
Mhm.
I like that shop.
Then we ate. Then what was the next shop we hit up?
Next one we went up to
Something
House of Secrets.
House of
out in
Secrets,
Burbank.
which looked cool from the outside.
That was a
Going
cool
up,
little
going
shop.
up to it.
That place was packed.
Really?
I thought it was packed, like out the wazoo with comics, man.
It was, but with old comics, which was pretty cool.
They had a lot of like new stuff too.
The new stuff I didn't see too. I mean, I saw what was there, but
It's a small shop. Yeah, I like the way it was decorated too. Like
Mhm.
almost every inch of the space was
The
decorated.
wall, everything,
posters, the
that was
roof, the
cool.
ceiling, like figures hanging down. One thing that they didn't have as much of is collectibles.
they didn't.
They had
really
more
didn't.
comics than anything.
There was.
So there was boxes and boxes like the old stuff you can go through. The racks in the middle of like the current this week's and previous week's
Right,
stuff
right.
of all the issues, and then like just the shelves of like trades. So I thought that place was packed with comics.
I mean, I looked at it and I thought it was I was actually, as far as all the ones we hit, it was the one that I least liked, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I just thought they had a wide variety, but their wide variety was based on the big three comics, you know. But like there wasn't much that I saw for Invincible or Image and stuff like that. You know, like I was particularly looking for some comic reads like, oh, maybe I could find something new, and they really didn't have a variety.
Okay.
Although they had I mean, it sounds stupid to say, but they had a huge selection, but kind of all in the same world.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that much because I had a few titles in mind that I went like straight towards.
Yeah, you were
So, like,
hitting,
just
you
looking
were
for
hitting the
that.
graphic novels.
Yeah, I was just kind of like straight to certain sections to see if I could find what I was looking for.
As far as
didn't really-
comics, not what I thought it should have been, but the graphic novel selection was pretty cool.
Okay. I like that shop. One thing was cool because I've never been to that shop, but I know that shop because of like the Collider videos that
Right.
I follow. Like I guess she's the shop owner or manager or something.
mhm.
I see her on these YouTube channels and videos and stuff. So she's super cool and she's got a wealth of knowledge and I like her. She's one of like the personalities that I follow.
Mhm.
So it was cool to actually meet her and like, oh, I'm in her shop and that's cool. But
Yeah, I saw you geek out with her.
yeah, I was underwhelmed about just the collectibles. I thought there'd be more figures and statues
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Like I said, out of all the four, I rated the least.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd hit it up if it was in that area.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go out of my way, but I hit it up if it was there.
And then our final stop was more closer to home.
Which I've been to the shop, their sister shop, which is in Redlands, and I didn't know that they had a second shop, which was in
In Claremont.
Claremont. And you told me that, and just knowing by the shop that I went to,
Uh-huh.
I've liked it. They're very current with the style, like very modern.
Yeah.
You know, but they're really good with their collection.
I like that shop. I
And
really did.
going into that shop, I was amazed. I mean, it was up there with Out of This World. Just Out of This World kind of blows it because it has such a variety.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, you saw their collection of Funko with a wide variety, hitting every spot. You know, from the TV show
Yeah, our last stop was a comic shop called Quest.
Quest. Mm-hmm.
So you've been to that Redlands one, which I've never been to.
Yes,
And I'd never been to either. But
I purchased some
Finally.
good art there. They have some good artists there. Do some.
yeah, I noticed they sell like artwork too. They had stuff on the
Yeah,
walls.
you saw how they
and,
have their own like you know,
like
I
the
don't-
prints.
like
and
almost amateur. No, I don't want to say amateur. I mean, independent artists. There we go. I think that's a better term. Independent artists doing.
it was to me it reminded me of like the artist alley that we see at conventions. Like they just
Right,
sell it
and they're
for
all
them.
independent. You know, it's not like they work for any specific guy, and that's what I'm saying. I meant to say independent artists, where them done just great work. And what I like about independent artists is that they have a different take on something that you've known and loved. You know, like
One thing I liked too was their t-shirt selection. It was more rare stuff that I do see at the conventions. Like there's this company that's now gone under of like these artists called Zero Friends. Like their selection of t-shirts, they had a lot of the Zero Friends art.
okay,
It's like I've never seen that at any shop or other than online directly through Zero Friends or
Mhm.
from those guys at the
and
conventions.
they went under.
Yeah, I guess they stopped. I don't know what it was, but because I follow them on Instagram and I saw months ago that they're kind of closing shop with the Zero Friends name. I'm sure the artists still continue to go on and do their own thing, but
As a shop,
their brand, I guess, is defunct.
It's a competitive world, man.
But yeah, I really like that shop. It's really cool. That was another one that I spent my money on. I spent most of my money on over at
Out of This World.
Things from Another World, I think it was.
Yeah,
And a shop called Quest.
and well, I love the shop.
It was cool.
They had a wide variety of comic books. I mean, they really had the whole wall, and they had Rebirth.
One of the bonuses that I think put them on top of the others was that they had the selection. They had Rebirth.
Yeah,
They didn't sell out,
no.
which was probably more due to the area.
Oh, definitely an area where people buy stuff because they want to say it's hipster. I mean, that's hipster central.
It's a
I mean,
college town.
It
It's
is. There's 4
it's a
major
local-
colleges there.
and
there's a
they're not.
Pomona.
I doubt they're really spending their money.
You know, they got
like,
the Claremont,
like-
the Pomona. You know, it's very hipster because of the colleges. Very
Yeah.
liberal town. I used to work there for Cole Schaefer.
Uh-huh.
But so bonus, I got the Rebirth.
That was cool.
And then they had the Marvel Legends, and I was like, and I've always liked those figures, the Marvel Legends. And I saw Juggernaut, and it just like you know what, I'm getting it.
Proud of you.
So
Because that was our last stop. We went the whole day without buying anything at any shop.
because nothing really out of all the shops I was like, all right, I needed something to call my name, like something really, to grab my attention. And the Juggernaut did.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I gotta have Juggernaut. He's one of my favorite characters. It's not the favorite character.
It was a
but-
real cool figure.
So I got it, and what else did I get?
You got that, and
Oh, I got
Mhm.
the first issue of the new Punisher coming out. That came out for Marvel, and coming out of the shop, that's when I noticed, like, hey, they have Rebirth for,
yeah, on the window you saw that.
and I thought it was pretty cool how they announced what's new in it, and it wasn't for that because I was specifically looking for it. I don't know how I oversaw it, maybe
Uh-huh.
because my daughter was running around. Her, she's gonna be the Flash because she just doesn't stop, just constantly
She's
going.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Spent the whole day
And
non-stop.
you know what? I can't talk up how hyper she is. I can easily say it, but you won't know until you
You
experience.
don't believe
how-
it until you see it yourself. You're like, oh, I've seen kids before. I've seen
Yes.
hyper kids. I've experienced my
And
nieces
she
and
just
nephews.
keeps
Like,
going and going. She takes a nap and she wakes up and going. Like, it's like insane. But
it's
anyways,
funny.
so I was able to get Rebirth, which if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be having the talk we're gonna be having pretty soon.
I told you.
And I'm grateful for you, Drew, for really pushing to read this, because, as you know, on DC, I've kind of
you
honestly,
fell off a bit.
I fell off a bit. I won't lie, I've fallen off a bit, and just because of just so many changes. But I'm not gonna be that old man who's like, oh, I remember my days. But honestly, I stopped because it wasn't the direction that I really enjoyed the DC, which is, I'm not gonna knock it. There's still great stories. I was reading Batman and Robin and some Batmans here and there. But we'll get into that later, how I'm grateful for you pushing me on that. So anyways, I got all those things. You got your comic and your Funko Pops, correct?
Yeah, I got Funkos. Overall, I got one T-shirt. Like the whole day, I got one T-shirt, 2 Funkos, and 3 trades.
Yeah. And he got one trade that I'm excited for. Hopefully he finishes it off so we can do
That might
another
take
book review.
that might take a while because that's
But
a long
That
read.
it is a long. It's
Yeah.
not, you see what I mean? And you can't do a book review though on that one without doing a spoiler. It's so big. But anyway, so that was a good day for comic book shopping.
It was a fun day, just overall, just hanging out, just getting out, getting out of my cave, doing
Yep.
something.
Now we gotta do another one, maybe next month. Do the Golden Age. Hit some other ones.
There's some other, like Golden Apple in LA.
Golden Apple. That's what it was. Yeah.
There's this huge one in Santa Monica too. I think I heard it was the biggest one in LA or
Oh really?
California, biggest comic book shop.
Ooh.
But yeah, some others will.
The Golden Apples.
make a
That's the
visit.
one that my daughter won the Rocket Raccoon
Oh yeah,
statue.
from the at the convention.
Yep.
Yeah. It's cool,
Always
really
mini
cool day,
statues.
very fun.
Mm-hmm. Next time we should see if anybody wants to come down with us, so they can see what we see, experience.
Yeah, probably.
So anybody listening, you guys can hit us up. When someone has a day off or something like that, we'll pick you up. Carpool.
Yeah, because it was a holiday. It was a holiday, so I didn't figure. Everybody had their own plans and stuff, so I didn't really figure inviting anybody. But yeah, for sure, next time I'll let people know.
All right. What do we got next?
What do you want to do? The X-Men review?
Sure. So this weekend was the release of X-Men Apocalypse, and
We didn't have our usual comic book shop thing event.
which I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
So what I did is like on my Facebook, everybody that like is into movies and comic movies,
Right.
I just threw an invite out, and only 2 people decided to come.
Which is fine. Which
It was
is great.
cool. Yeah, it was fine.
Because usually a lot of our friends that do are cool with us. They're mostly back half people when it comes to our jobs, so they're working a lot of times at the back half, and that's the younger people.
True.
So, but either way, what did you think, Drew?
To begin with, I was surprised about the turnout. I knew it wasn't a BVS hyped movie or a Civil War hyped movie.
It wasn't, which I think kind of hurt it, in the sense that the way that other movies get hyped, so there's a great turnout. But I mean, this movie wasn't as hyped as you can see other movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just the usual marketing. They weren't just like the regular 2, 3, 4 trailers that were out, but not enough TV
not
spots.
that aggressive.
Not
You get your own commemorative cup, bucket of popcorn with holographic,
yeah, they did that for BVS. I got my BVS
and they did that for Civil
bucket
War.
of popcorn, and yeah, same for Civil War. I didn't get that one, but yeah, just kind of surprised at the turnout, at the amount of people. And maybe
Yeah, on an early Thursday too.
it wasn't early Thursday. Maybe that's why there were a few more showings afterwards. Maybe like the crowd came in afterwards.
But even for that early Thursday, there was quite a bit of people, which was surprised me.
But yeah, the theater that we got was one of the big ones, and there was a good turnout for in the theater.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the lines for 3-4 different theaters like the others. But
No, of course
but-
not. But again, you're not hyping this up, and X-Men is not gonna get the big niche as the Civil Wars that has all these other movies, all these other heroes encompassing.
Yeah, I was just surprised at the turnout.
But besides that, what did you think about the
Movie overall, I liked it, but I wasn't like blown away by it like
Mhm.
I was with Civil War or
In,
even
in the terms of X-Men, you already saw 3 X-Men from this universe.
of the 3 X-Men movies.
Mhm.
It was just as good, if not just a little less than Days of Future Past. for me.
Okay.
Days of Future Past is probably the best one, and this one is just tie. And then I always forget the name of that first one. What is it called?
X-Men First Class.
First Class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, okay,
So-
let's talk about. We'll go with you for now. So
Uh-huh.
we'll stick on you. Let's talk about the pros. What did you think?
Let's see.
You want me to give you time? Want me to go first?
Pros overall, it was an enjoyable movie. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I'm not a massive X-Men fan like you are,
Yeah.
because that's your world.
Yeah.
Like X-Men is to you what Batman is to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked the movie. I just had my questions overall as far as Apocalypse
Mm-hmm.
and his 4 horsemen.
Right.
And like I mentioned, how underutilized Psylocke was,
Which we both agree on.
or the four followers, even
Mhm.
Storm and Archangel and Magneto. And I was curious about Magneto's whole, after his motivating back to the dark side, like his whole thing after that was like, what was the point of what he's doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And again, the whole, every movie we see him in, he's bad guy, but then he flips to good guy, and bad guy, good guy. He's never
Mm-hmm.
one or the other. And we did discuss it on the way to the comic shops.
Yeah, and we'll discuss this now too, because maybe there's people that watch and have the same situation.
We're gonna go full spoilers. We'll
Yeah, let's go.
talk
Let's,
about
let's,
stuff that
let's do
happens.
full
So
spoilers. Let's go full
I mean,
spoilers.
let you guys know ahead of time now. So
Yeah.
full spoilers on X-Men Apocalypse.
All right. So, look, I'll just first of all, for me, I think it's just slightly above Days of Future Past,
Uh huh.
and only because of the way Apocalypse really portrayed himself. And what I thought was funny and great is that everybody was scared. It's like, oh, Apocalypse is gonna be a little pansy or just people were worried about Apocalypse.
Yeah.
If anything, my expectations of him were met, and the way he steals the scene when he's on the scene talking is just amazing. The way his voice and how we talked about it, that
Yeah.
you would have rather liked that his voice was elevated at all times, but I liked the way that his voice as he talked would elevate himself, just showing his true powers.
He had at first, like when he was very calm, very strategic, and explained. It reminded me very of T'Challa, just the way he's very just regal and calm and
Right.
And then how he Apocalypse would
Once
then
become passionate or
once the
whatever,
voice started getting
yeah.
modulated, it got deep and scary. I would have preferred if he was scarier. And
for me, it's just the way he built it up, which was amazing. It's just like, ooh, oh yeah, he's getting, oh yeah, like, and you get riled up with him,
Yeah.
and I thought it was great. I thought he was fantastic, honestly. God, him and so
Fassbender,
yeah,
and
Quicksilver.
Oscar Isaac. Or
Apocalypse?
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver was
Okay.
great.
Quicksilver was out. Okay, that's one of my pros. It's the Quicksilver.
He stole the comedy scene.
The whole scene was cool. But then why didn't he, reveal?
Maybe because it would be too much of a mind fuck, like, oh wait, well, like, like, let's ease into this. I don't think this is the right moment where I'm gonna reveal.
Like, you're trying to destroy the world right now. Should I kind of
Yeah,
let
yeah,
you know that I'm your kid?
yeah. But he's for sure he stole the comedy role. He was fantastic in the scenes that he was in. And then I agree with you. Psylocke was underutilized.
Yeah.
I think Archangel was used well. I hated that he died though. That scene, I was like, oh, I wanted to see him as the Angel of Death, where he has a full on blue, which I already explained to you why he's all blue.
But because he's now Apocalypse.
Yeah, he's supposed to be
point.
Apocalypse. Yeah, he was supposed to be Apocalypse. As far as the Four Horsemen, I already Andrew had the problems. Like, well, I mean, why were they there if he was so strong and everything?
Yeah, if Apocalypse is so powerful, I mean, he manipulates,
the matter around.
He manipulates matter. He decapitates guys with like sand off buildings and can like meld people into buildings and created a whole pyramid out of
the material that's
that's around. If he's so all powerful, why does he need these four horsemen? And having these four horsemen is like, what is the point of these?
And I was telling Drew was that they're his henchmen. They're his people that facilitate what he's doing. It's like describing a tarantula when it's shedding. It's the most vulnerable. It's such a dangerous species, but it's so vulnerable when it's shedding. So the process of him transferring his being into another mutant is his vulnerable spot where he is.
But Apocalypse was already lack of a better term, his final form before finding Charles Xavier.
Right.
So if he's already as powerful as it's going to get to where he can feel he can destroy the world in this form, what is the need for?
Because he said it himself. He said during the movie, he goes, I can connect to everybody and all at once and just one foul swoop, done. That's what it is. It's just want to make things easier. If he gets Charles Xavier, who is already in an Omega, well, this is what I'm taking it. The way he made everybody stronger, he made everybody an Omega.
Yeah.
An Omega mutant,
changing all
which in the X-Men world is everybody's ranked Beta, Alpha, and everything like that. And Omega means you're one of the powerful mutants. So he pushes him at that Omega level where he slinks to everybody without Cerebro. So.
But that was once he found Charles Xavier.
Exactly. So he was going to take over the world regardless. But he found a mutant that made it easier. I mean, that's all it is. He's just someone who's going to make it easier for him. And that's why he wanted him. He's just like, hey, he's going to make this easier. Why not? He takes powers that will benefit him, and this will benefit him.
Yeah. See, I could see that once he finds Xavier, there's no need for any other mutant to have around because now he's got his most powerful form.
But remember, he needs those people to protect him. Well, just like when the movie starts. His four horsemen saved him.
Yeah, this was in that form he was already like an older, more. Because the Oscar Isaac character had the mutant healing ability.
He didn't have it at that time. He was going to transfer himself into the mutant.
So that's why I could see that why he needs his bodyguards.
Correct. So now he has the healing thing, but now he needs that omnipotent where I can connect to everybody and just one foul swoop, everybody's done. World conquered. Why do I need to fight? But for him to change bodies, he needs his four horsemen to protect him. So that's all it is. It's just there to protect him when he's needed. And I told you in the beginning, in the end, if everybody teams up, he can still lose. I mean, we saw what happened. You got to have people,
Yeah, I mean, this movie is going to be good versus evil. Good's going to win always.
Right.
I understand that, but my feeling as the Apocalypse, he wasn't intimidating to me. He wasn't like all-powerful villain enough that I saw. Like, if he felt that way, he's going to destroy the world and rebuild. Why does he need to have the followers? Why doesn't he just do it already? But I understand it. Like the movie-wise, we need the plot and
even in the heroes. Well, even in the comic books, he's always had his followers. He's always had his followers. He's had his worshippers, his minions, his everything. Apocalypse have always talked about reigning, and you need your people to reign. So he's never been a solo destroy and like Ultron kind of thing where everybody's gonna be. He's always had his followers. He believes in Homo Superior. So he has to have his followers. He has to have a starting point. So that's what it is. And the thing we talked about is that that we said that was kind of overwhelming was the fight scenes. But I explained that it kind of makes sense because we during the movie we find out that Charles Xavier School for Higher Learning is just what it is now, just a school for higher
It
learning.
starts out just as a school.
Yeah, so there's no training, there's no furthering of people's powers, nothing like that. It's just a school, a safe haven for mutants, and essentially he even says it. He wants to plan integrate regular people to the school, so it's just for any kind of gifted. You know?
Yeah, I understand that now, but I think 6, 7 X-Men movies before then, we'd always seen, and even from coming from Days of Future Past, that opening battle sequence where they're all fighting and using their powers together.
Right.
This is now, of
but
course, in the future.
That world never happened.
That course is in the future.
But that never happened.
I was so
remember?
used to all that stuff.
Oh yeah. That's what you're saying.
Like,
yeah.
That's why I was underwhelmed in this movie with there were no big battle sequences.
No, there wasn't.
There
There wasn't, and it reflected really for what they were prepared for. Though they weren't prepared for the teamwork. You saw how sloppy they were, and I honestly, understanding the X-Men, and I think I was very quick to catch to that their team up wasn't as crisp as Days of Future Past. It wasn't as elegant. It wasn't fluid. I think that's a better word.
I just wasn't used to.
It wasn't fluid. It
this
was just
story going so far back to basically a beginning kind of.
Yeah, and that's what it really
storyline.
was. It's a beginning of them joining a fight, and it was sloppy. But I think it was purposely made because they don't have schooling. They don't have that team up.
Is this set up as a trilogy, or I know we're gonna have more X-Men movies.
No, that was never set up as just a trilogy. I think they just wanted to continue the X-Men. I think number 4, there's gonna be a 4th, and I think it's gonna be amazing. And they're already talking about set in the 90s.
Yeah.
So the reason I enjoy this movie more is because it really grounded with the X-Men. Like I just follow it perfectly. I clicked with it. I can see why they're sloppy at fighting, and I can see the next movie be amazing because the way it ended, showing all the kids at the school ready to train.
Yeah, I could see that.
In the danger room.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember the danger room.
Yeah, the holograms.
Yeah, exactly. So
where they
seeing the Sentinels coming out with all them ready, I was like, yes. And this is what this will catapult us to the X-Men of Day of Future Past style, where everybody is just flowing. They're just feeding off each other, and the fight scenes are amazing.
Yeah. Which a lot of the timeline stuff, kind of that's what I kept thinking about. It's like, okay, Days of Future Past, I know is in the future, but they go to the 70s because this movie's in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But First Class was in the 70s, so I'm trying to think. In the 70s, weren't they trained? Weren't they being trained? Didn't they have?
They remember they were being trained. Banshee died. So did Pixie was not Pixie.
So this whole Xavier School just reverted back to just a school of education and learning.
Correct. Because remember, he even said, "I've lost too many friends and students along the way."
That's a lot of things because I kept in my own head thinking back and forth of the timeline wise. But wait, they were organized before. Why aren't they organized now? This and that. I was just kind of a speed bump to me. This movie was a bit of a speed bump. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Kind of where I was like.
No, I was well in sync because think about it. So they had the original First Class, pretty much. Banshee died.
We're not really doing so much spoilers. We're kind of vague in it.
Huh?
I'm saying we're kind of vague in it, so it's not really so much spoilers. So all of you listening, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
But because we haven't gone through the movie beat by beat and
but we reveal that the 4 Archangel's dead.
Big whoop.
Yeah, Psylocke
I'm sure nobody
escapes,
really.
and they're teamed up to destroy Apocalypse. There's your spoilers, guys.
That whole final moment where
Phoenix. I already forgot about that.
Which one?
Yeah, the whole Phoenix.
The
coming out.
Kind of leading to the Dark Phoenix saga, or the whole Jean Grey and her Phoenix power.
Yeah, which a lot of Nerdist people were like, "Oh my God, they killed it. Why is she tapping into the Phoenix when she, blah blah blah."
I don't know the exact story and timeline of how that story works, but that moment was pretty cool. To see her just unleash
which was amazing because it essentially Professor X gets into a telepathy battle with Apocalypse, and seeing Apocalypse the way he just rages out, and that was pretty cool. I like that scene.
That was cool, but I was kind of like, oh, this is in the mind type of thing. This so he doesn't physically actually have these powers
No.
to grow like that. I was like that's another like just whelming moment, underwhelming.
Yeah, but that was an homage to Apocalypse that he could get big, you know.
Mm.
But so anyways, and then seeing that Jean was a catalyst of defeating him, you know, being the one that was it powerful enough.
More powerful, yeah.
It's always been known that Jean is the most powerful telepath there is. It's nothing new about that. It's just she has a dark inherent power. So she taps into it, which is the Phoenix. She starts hitting Apocalypse, and then you see Cyclops. Apocalypse is getting hit by everybody, every which way. What I liked about, and which you remind me, just bringing that up, was how he connects with Jean and has a moment of clarity and sees those images that Jean sees early on. Remember
the end of the world.
End of the world.
Oh.
And who else saw it? Was it Professor X? Professor X saw that too.
Did he?
Yeah. He taps into Jean trying to cool her because she was heating up the room. The whole Phoenix thing, like the whole room was boiling, kind of deal. Remember, it was all hot. Everything, the windows were all steamed up.
I don't even remember that.
Jean is having like a nightmare.
Oh, you're talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
So
part.
he taps into it. Yeah. He taps into her to calm her down.
And he's like, whoa, yeah.
He's getting these images, and the false image is that this is because of Apocalypse. But it wasn't, because Apocalypse connects to Jean and sees these images, and he like, oh.
What did he say? Like it reveals itself?
Yeah, he's like, oh, so this is okay. Like, it almost seems like, well, all right, I'm cool with this. Like,
but what is it that sets that off? Because I wasn't explained that, or I wasn't familiar with what's going to happen.
Well, the Phoenix thing it's an entity. So essentially, it's almost like an Apocalypse entity. It's like,
okay, this is one of the trades that I bought. Is the Dark Phoenix Saga?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be explained?
God, that was so long ago. I don't remember. But yeah, it should, because Dark Phoenix is an entity that a lot of people, a lot of beings from outside of Earth know about.
Okay.
Leaves wake of destruction wherever it goes. But anyway, so just him realizing that, oh, okay, so this is where things are gonna go, was pretty cool.
And he's okay with just kind of like, all right, I'm done.
Kind of like, maybe I wasn't the all powerful one I thought I was gonna be. Boom, dead.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, oh, no way. But anyways, I honestly, I think like you said, being such an X-Men fan, I saw all the linkage.
Yeah.
Just click.
It was a good movie still. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen it once so far. I would see it again.
I'm gonna see it again, definitely.
I will see it again. Maybe more so to understand a few more bits and pieces.
Yeah, and just let me know. I mean, you have questions. And you brought the whole Magneto thing, how he always goes good and bad. But I was telling you, in the comics, he's very much the same way. He's good, he's bad, he's good, he's bad, but he never sees himself as a bad guy.
That's probably something why I haven't latched onto X-Men as much as like others.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the things like that whole Magneto flip-flop. He's like, I understand his reasoning for hating man.
Correct.
In the whole Auschwitz and killing his family and where his rage just began. And having these powers, he's what is he? The Omega?
He is an Omega level.
He's an Omega level mutant. He has the ability to,
wreak
havoc and do what he wants to change the world and change man or destroy man because of how he feels towards them. But then he always flips and kind of, there's always something that flips, right, and he's okay with it for a while.
And like I was telling you, in the comic books, he's the same way. He goes from being the villain to being with the good guys to being a villain. His agenda is always changing. And I was telling you that his facade is always going to be of him being a good guy. Because I don't think he's just capable of it. I think mentally you're aware of yourself. It's like, I'm going to try to be good. But in the end, your core being is a bad guy because he's just being just torn apart because of his childhood. I mean, we know Batman is the way he is because of his childhood trauma. His core being is never letting that happen again.
Yeah.
Opposite effect for Magneto. His core being is that he will never be prosecuted or let that happen to himself again or others. To that extent of, we are the best because of how he parents and Auschwitz and all that stuff. So I think his core self is just not more a villain, but there's only one real way of doing it. It's just
But why hasn't he ever just done it and it's over with? Why is that's just my
like
thing.
completely
With,
pull the trigger
yeah,
because he's always had Eric. Eric is his yin to his yang. Eric has always been involved. Eric is always the first one there. And when
Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kept on saying Eric. Charles. And spoiler alert for those who haven't read the comic books: when Charles dies, Eric's there to remember him and just think about it. It really fucked him up for a while. But the way he's portrayed, he's similar in the comic books, flip flopping all the time, all the time. I was just explaining to you when the Dark Phoenix saga happened again in the comic books, when they took over Cyclops, Magneto, took over Namor, and it took over the Diamond Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Once they all lost the Phoenix, their powers were completely depleted. Like they're all a percentage of their whole self, And he went good for a while, and I was telling you towards the end, before the whole Secret Wars occurred, he went off killing people left and right.
So finally, kind of pulled the trigger in essence.
Well, and with what his agenda was at the time, and that's what Magneto will always be, a guy with an agenda. That's who he always will be. He just has his agenda. Whatever it is, as it changes, he goes with it.
It's similar. I guess my whole deal with it is like I want my villain to be a villain and my hero to be a hero. Because I feel almost similar to the Lex Luthor
Okay,
vibe.
perfect.
Sometimes he...
Perfect example. I was going to say that. Yes, you're correct 100%. He is Lex.
Yeah, the Lex Luthor, but I guess it's more stated to me because I read the DC stuff where Lex Luthor, you see where he's manipulating. He's like kind of friends with the Justice League or friends with Superman for a greater good type of thing. There's like, something bigger going on other than me right now. We got to do that.
Right.
But you always see him manipulating and being kind of conniving, and still, he's going to turn bad.
All right. And he's not Lex in that sense, but as in the essence of Lex, yes, he's exactly that way. He has his agenda. And if his agenda somehow kind of merges with what's going on right now, he's there, but only for that one part, and then he's branching off on his own for his own thing. Right?
Yeah.
So that's perfect. And I think we should end it off on that part because we can get too much into detail with this because X-Men is my world. But yeah, I think that's the perfect way for you to grasp that is, he's
the Lex Luthor.
Kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right on. Overall, though, you guys should go see this movie.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for that little nerd banter we had.
Also disappointed with the amount of money it made. Over the 4-day weekend, the holiday weekend, it made $80 million.
Right, and it's $30 million less than Days of Future Past.
That even hurts as just a movie fan of this genre in general. That kind of makes me feel bad. Like, this movie should be up there with the rest of them, like the $100+ million. But hopefully,
X-Men is hurt because it doesn't have that money that Marvel has with Disney, where it's just in your face everywhere.
But then X-Men has been, I would credit the X-Men franchise along with the Sam Raimi franchise to where we are today. Right. I would give them the credit because of those two franchises in the beginning.
Correct.
Is why we're here.
But it was just the beginning, and then the third one kind of hurt it really, really bad.
Really bad.
And then it kind of started a downslope, which still in a lot of people's taste buds, you know what I mean?
It's had its up and down with the X-Men Origins movie. The Wolverine standalone wasn't as big. It was
I thought the Wolverine was pretty good.
I liked it too, but it wasn't as big as...
Because it was still hurting from X-Men 3 and...
Or Origins to begin with.
Origins. Also. It did well for what it was, following those two disasters, honestly. But it had a lot of, not bad influence, just a lot of bad juju, I guess you want to say.
From the previous stuff.
From previous stuff before. But I liked it. And
I did too. So
far, people that I know they saw, they liked it. So
there was a lot of stuff that I liked in it. There was a cool little Easter eggy type of stuff. One thing I did like, because I'm a huge music fan and metal fan, just hearing Metallica in there, the Four Horsemen song in there, I was like, little Easter egg.
And there's one thing we have left out. I don't know if we should say it since we already said spoilers.
Go for it.
Weapon X.
Oh yeah, that little was in one of the trailers.
His
that
just
whole-
his sling, his
whatever. So Wolverine's in the movie.
He is in the movie, but it's a great way to show that he's the Weapon X.
It was more of a cameo.
It was more than a cameo, but showing how his Weapon X was coming out was pretty cool. How they stayed really close to the comic books.
Well, because that's his origin right there.
Right.
This is his proper origin of mind. His memories wiped and just being.
And how he goes berserk mode and he's just killing everybody legitly.
And I like that thing he had on his head. It's like straight out of the comic.
That's straight from the comic
That was
book.
cool.
Yep, with the mind thing controller.
That metal mind thingy on his head, like those straps, and that's straight out the comic.
Yeah, it's straight. It is.
It's
It's straight out of the comic.
Cool.
So that was pretty cool.
It was a cool little scene. Again, Quicksilver, that was freaking awesome. His saving
Comedy.
the mansion, and that also reminded me the mansion getting destroyed. That joke in Deadpool about the mansion getting destroyed, like, oh, it builds characters. Like, oh, there again we see the mansion getting attacked and getting destroyed. It's
Right.
like, so that was funny. Again, underwhelmed by the new mutants that they had in there. I liked Nightcrawler. He was cool.
Mm-hmm.
His power was like really cool, and the personality of that character was
and
really
I can only
cool.
imagine with the fourth movie once they're all trained with each other, how phenomenal they're gonna do.
How do you feel about Mystique now?
That's the only thing that's really it's a con for me. Just Mystique's role.
Yeah, I've always, from the 90s comics or the
Mhm.
90s animated series, she's always been by Magneto's side as a villain to me,
Right.
in my eyes. And the first 3 movies, she was always a villain. And then
I'm
that's
not for her leading role.
that's
no.
probably another thing about these newest 3 movies is how she's almost the central character. Her and Wolverine are like the main characters in these movies,
Right.
and how they have her as a good guy.
Yeah. No,
That's probably
that
one.
kind of bugged me.
I think that I just hit it right there. I think that's one of the things about these newest 3 movies that that's why I'm not in love with these movies. I like them, but the whole Mystique thing as being a good guy kind of threw me off.
No, that's the only thing that bugs me.
And it almost seems too like, what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence is kind of like whatever with it now.
You can tell her acting from the first one to like these ones are not as passionate.
She's just there for the paycheck.
I
almost,
think so.
It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in her Mystique natural form for what, 10 minutes at the most,
Right.
back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So like, she seems to be kind of out of it.
I think so. But we'll move on.
Can you see that?
DC
I can't.
Birth.
A rebirth. I want to give it to
Rebirth.
rebirth. Right on. Rebirth. Rebirth was something I found out about WonderCon. This was back in April.
Yeah.
Went to the Rebirth panel because huge DC nut, wanted to find out about this stuff, and really got interested in what they were doing with this Rebirth. It's not a rebooting of the universe like the New 52 was.
Yep.
It's they know what happened with New 52. They lost some fans and some numbers, and they took out a lot of characters in this world that have been around before.
Right, and that's where I branched off, and this is where you branched in.
At the New 52 stuff.
Right.
So what the explanation is, because this is not a reboot, this is more of like rebuilding to what it used to be from this New 52 foundation. And this comic came out last week. I picked it up. Awesome, $3 for an 80-page issue.
Right.
It's a long, big issue. And being a DC noob, comic noob, there was a lot of stuff in this that I wasn't familiar with.
Correct.
Because it was from before my time.
Correct.
And I was fascinated. I was like, we're going to go into spoilers on this too?
Yeah,
if you guys
I mean, we
haven't
have
read it,
to. Because this is a big thing, and it's out there. We got to stay current, so we have to talk. We got it. So there's spoilers here.
Starting with the Wally West thing, I knew Wally West was a Flash, and I don't know his backstory and stuff, but this is kind of explained a bit during the story, and how he's lost in the Speed Force, stuck in the Speed Force.
Right.
And this explanation of the New 52 universe was kind of manipulated somehow. This universe became because of somebody's hand in this
Correct.
universe. So Wally West is stuck in the Speed Force, trying to get back, trying to like warn people and advise people like something
Correct.
bigger's going on. We gotta come back and get together.
And and if it were Andrew, or I should say Drew, he bought Rebirth. He talked to me. He's like, "Get it, you gotta get it. It's a great read. You gotta get it. You gotta get it."
Because of what I read, I knew you would like this because of the history that is involved in it now. How it's bringing it back.
And I didn't go out on my way to get it. I went to the comic book shop. It was sold out. Cool. They're gonna get a new print next Wednesday. Maybe I'll get it. I don't really.
And
care
I was
for
ready
it.
to once after our comic shop, and once you dropped me off at home to run out and give you Rebirth to read it. I was ready.
Right. So.
But then we ended up finding it for you at that shop.
Right. So Andrew was just like, you gotta read it. You gotta read it. So luckily, which I'm glad we did that last minute stop at Claremont, I bought it. So today I was like, what? I had time, for whatever reasons. I read it, blown away.
Right.
I was blown away. And the reason I say this is because it really, you can see it touching the history of DC where I was reading.
It's bringing all that stuff
It
back.
is bringing that stuff in. And it would there's a couple of scenes that gave me chills, which is weird to say. If people, you're reading a comic book, you get chills.
I almost cried.
But you get attached to these characters because you put your time into it. And reading this Rebirth, it connected with me because there's a lot of these stories that I read, that I've seen, and a lot of Crisis that I know the backstory.
Yeah.
And reading this, I'm like, oh my God, yes, it's heading the way that I enjoy. It's going to the DC that I really started reading. But then I started thinking, it's like there's a lot of people that are not going to understand this. And I asked Andrew, I asked you, Drew, is like, do you know who Wally West is? He goes, I know he's a Flash, but that's pretty much
the
it.
general gist. Yeah, there's a lot of characters that it hit upon that's like, I don't know who these are, like that Johnny Thunder, I believe, right?
Yep.
I don't know the Ted Kord history or the Jaime.
And it showed Ted
history.
Kord, and I was like, wait, Ted Kord is
the Blue Beetles, and
do you know about Ted Kord? Do you know who he is?
I know he's a Blue Beetle. That's it.
Okay, so you don't know that he was
dead.
Yeah,
so all this stuff, seeing all this stuff being brought back from previous history is like really got me more interested. It's like, I really got to find out more about Wally West. I got to find out who Ted Kord is, and I got to find out more about all these other previous characters.
And with the books I'm telling you to read about the Crisis, you'll find about Ted Kord and his unfortunate storyline, Booster Gold. You'll know about Barry Allen. You'll know about Wally West, and it was hitting every chord, and I was like, "Yep, I'm enjoy this storyline right now." I can tell you right now, I wasn't for Rebirth, but
You're on board.
I'm on board right now.
I'm glad to hear that. I love how it incorporated from my beginning of comic reading, where it's taking off from there.
Mm-hmm.
It's bringing in the past, including what I know, and going off from there.
It's bridging both worlds. I think that's what it's doing. It's bridging both.
And that Wally West storyline was
how
amazing.
Emotional he was.
That was
like
amazing.
say goodbye. When
he finally was just like okay with it, like, and I tried what I could, because he's in the Speed Force. He's trying to get out to warn people. He's able to make connections with some people to like warn them.
Which in the process of making connections, it's bringing back memories that the New 52 world doesn't really know about.
Yeah, he's connecting.
And we're gonna find out why we don't know
other
about
characters
soon. Later on in the read.
And then when he finally gets, because his what is it? The way he has always gone out of the Speed Force is Iris.
Yeah.
His wife, and he even connects with her at one point, and she doesn't remember him,
which kind of kills him.
And like kind of sets him up to like, okay, she doesn't remember me. Like what? She was my only way of ever.
She was my anchor to this world.
Yeah.
When he would get sucked into the Speed Force, he would go back to her, and like you said, he's stuck in the Speed Force. The Speed Force is draining him out of all his speed, life force, whatever you call it. So he's getting drained to death. He gets contact with Batman, which is a little reminiscence of
the BVS little.
Yeah, which I don't know if you caught that. Like,
yeah.
Wow, And then he sends him the letter, which is
the letter
incident
had to do
from
with
Flashpoint,
like a big part of it. Yeah.
Which Flashpoint killed off my DC world.
Flashpoint, which I just found out recently, was pretty much the beginning of the New 52.
Correct.
Which I didn't realize.
Yeah, so he connected with Batman. Batman wasn't able to remember him, and he connected with Johnny.
With Johnny Thunder, I guess he's a former member of
JSA.
One of your favorite.
Which, when he said try to get a hold of Justice Society, I was like, oh my God, yes.
Then he goes on Iris. She doesn't remember him,
And
so
then
he's kind of like finally
he's giving up, and he just happens to see Barry.
Last attempt was with Barry Allen.
And Barry's always connected to the Speed Force, so he's able to get a glimpse of him, sees what's going on.
But he doesn't remember him.
No, so he's saying, thank you, continue what you're doing. I know you don't remember me. Just be the best, Flash. I know that you are. And
that was amazing. Just that emotional, like he's ready to just say goodbye,
right.
and like in just the art of him getting almost ripped, like it looks like he's getting ripped to shreds.
Correct. Pulled every which way.
It's just wow.
And then seeing Barry,
just in his eyes, you see like Barry,
and it just connects, like neurons just connected, and he remembers everything, the history. And the minute he remembers, he's already in tears, holding on to Wally.
And he grabs his arm. That was amazing. That's crazy how art can affect.
And the emotion, what I liked was the emotion of Barry on his knees, just sobbing because he remembers everything.
I remember now. Like, how could I?
The good and the bad, and and there's so much history, which I was like, oh, so he's gonna remember things that I will not tell you right now because I want you to off on your own. He remembers things that had happened, and it was just like. And it's just like, I'm so sorry. How could I forget all this?
Just you see them in their embrace.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
So that was cool, and I'm a happy camper, so I can't wait.
And I like how from there like we show glimpses of like what's to come, like the Batman storyline. We see what these a couple new heroes that are in Gotham.
Right.
We see
that we don't know of yet. I don't know of them yet.
Yeah, we see a glimpse of a Green Lantern. Then one of the new Green Lanterns, like kind of set up. She was in the new 52 Justice League. This last couple stories of like the Crime Syndicate and
so this is going to be a lot of characters that I don't know about. That brand new, which is pretty cool because you get to know about past his characters that you don't know about. I get to learn about new characters that I don't know about.
So there's really like a lot of setup for what's coming. Like Damian Wayne turning 13, so he's now going to be leading the Teen Titans. The whole Gotham. Woman in Gotham, Man or something, new heroes in Gotham, Wonder Woman stuff. It's like really a lot of cool stuff coming.
Brother.
So apparently, that was one of the things we found out in the Justice League War. She has a twin brother. He was the first man on that island, apparently. So it was really cool. I was just like blown away by this rebirth.
I can't wait.
I already added so many more titles to my pull list.
I'm at that Superman and Batman.
Superman, I'm kind of iffy about.
Really?
Because. Well, they're switching it up. He's going to be Asian.
What?
It's going to be a Japanese Superman or something.
There is one on one of the worlds. There's an Asian Superman.
Well, they may be taken off of something like that.
All right.
But yeah, DC Rebirth, that just blew me away, and I was like excited to get you to read it, and I had to get you to read it.
I'm happy.
Another big bombshell in the comic world that dropped was over on the Marvel side.
Captain America
Whispering. #1. He returns. So Steve
Rogers.
Steve Rogers returns as Captain America because he was previously. What's his name? What's Falcon's name?
I forget the Falcon's name. But anyways, the Falcon is a new Captain.
The Falcon was a new Captain America, but now they brought Steve Rogers back. He's got his powers back, and I didn't read this. But I know it because of the internet.
Yeah, and I have it. I just haven't read it but we all find out because we're always up to date with what's going on. He essentially ends one of the comic by saying "Hail Hydra."
So apparently he's been a Hydra agent this whole time.
And the world flipped their shit.
They lost their minds.
So many people were just like, "How could this be? He's America's hero." Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "Take it easy. It's just the first." Take it down a notch.
This is just issue #1.
There's always
the story's not over.
A silver line at the end. There's always something going.
My first thought when I saw that, like, hey, okay, it's a double cross.
So it's gonna be interesting. So we're gonna find out what's going on.
Whatever. Okay.
Like,
there's more to the story.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
keep waiting.
ridiculous how people just flip their shit.
People just lost their minds.
Now
It's
they're all
crazy.
trying to say make Captain America gay too. I didn't heard about that.
Oh, I saw that as a petition or like some Twitter.
And I was like, wait, so you want to make him gay, which he's never been, and then you flip your shit for hell, like God, rage. I don't know.
that's what I'm telling you. That's why we're here in this dystopian future where there's no more nerd rage.
Anyways, but
But as-
even Marvel started tweeting like the writers are like, relax. It's the first read. Read the whole arc.
Chris Evans, his tweet was like, "Hail Hydra, really, guys?" Like, and the guy who plays Agent Coulson also tweeted something about like, "No, say it ain't so, Captain America."
Yeah.
But I know he's like just playing along with it, not really like nerd rage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's part of a larger story. It's issue number 1. There's a twist to this. Like my first thought was just, oh, it's probably just some sort of double cross.
Right.
Blah blah blah, whatever. It's just that's crazy.
But
So that was the big news for this comic week.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Read on readings.
Throw out the story about your X-Men or your Iron Man
Oh
statue.
yeah, so me and Andrew like to collect stuff, and you've known that from us going to these premieres. There's always raffles, and I don't know how or what, but since me and Drew started going to these raffles, we've been fortunate of being lucky and winning free stuff. And this last one we went to was a Civil War. There was a little snafu with the tickets.
Pretty big snafu.
Which
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess we purchased our tickets early on. We purchased them the day of BVS.
Yeah, so the
Screening.
Batman versus Superman premiere, they decided to sell tickets for Civil War.
Correct.
Like, cool, we'll get on that. We'll get our tickets and we're set.
Right. So we bought them that same day. When we choose our seating, we were always like, all right, this is like a good area. So we chose our seats. No big deal. Forget about it. Day of the movie comes. I haven't got an email confirming the tickets, but I already have my proof of purchase and everything.
Yeah, we actually got
The little stubs.
the stubs, yeah.
Yeah. So I show my stub, and they were like, okay. We've double booked your seats, and the people that bought this as well have already picked up the tickets. I'm like, what?
That was really weird.
Yeah, and they were like, don't worry, we got you. You're going to get everything no matter what. I'm like, okay, cool, no big deal. As long as I'm watching my movie and we sit it down, cool. And we get good seats, so there's no big deal. And
And it just happened to us, right?
yeah. There was like, I think the first 8-10 people that bought it.
That bought it
Mhm.
had problems too. Okay.
So,
So what they did was like the family that ended up buying our tickets got the seats that we
Correct.
had originally bought.
correct. So we
Because
got
it's-
kicked out of our seats,
So we got to sit where I guess,
Coworkers.
assigned seating for the staff of the store.
which were great seats.
Which, yeah, just good seats.
So anyway, so
Biggie.
we get those seats, and like I said, there's always a raffle. And one thing me and Drew always do is I always tell him that he's gonna win, and he says no, he'll never win, and either he wins or I win something. But it's just something we've done since day one. I
It's
think.
it's our little, I guess.
Pre-game excitement.
What is it?
Lucky Charm.
You know how
Ritual.
athletes wear the same socks?
Yeah,
What is it,
like
ritual.
a
or
ritual. Yeah.
Good luck ritual, whatever. Or
But
like,
anyways,
yeah, I'm not gonna win. I'm not
I-
gonna win.
so
And
we were saying that, and the next number they give or later on was the one that my wife is sitting down, and because I buy the tickets and because I'm a man, I'm just joking. I claimed the winning. I was like, I cheered. I was like, yeah, I won something. But then you're like, wait, somebody else won something because they have the actual the ticket.
yeah, they were in this because it's all assigned seating, so aisle and seat number.
Mm-hmm.
So they picked out one of what were supposed to be our seats.
Yeah.
So
So
I was like, well, are you still gonna get that because you paid for that seat and this and that?
Right.
So that was a big like.
and they clarified me before this that if you get called, we'll get you're gonna get a prize.
Which is awesome. I
Which
mean,
is a cool, no big deal. So I went down there and they're like, okay, go to the shop. We don't have the statue here, which they said early on. They don't have the statue there. They have the box, but then you have the statue there. Cool.
yeah. So the person that was in our seat they won whatever they were raffling off.
Correct.
So they were able to claim their prize.
Correct.
So it was cool for them. No
and
biggie.
then I did free comic book day. Went there. It was too busy. No big deal. I went to another day. The guys that promised the statues, which was Chris and another
The
guy.
shop owner. right?
Yeah, shop owner, weren't there. No big deal. And the thing is, well, it's been a month since the movie. Yeah, it's been about 3 to 4 weeks since the movie. Yeah, it's been a month. So
Yeah, over a month.
finally I go again, and I finally claim my prize. And I'm thinking, small statue, because the statue they showed, it wasn't like a crazy statue.
I don't even remember what it was.
It wasn't a Hot Toy. Which, if you guys know what Hot Toys are, those are some expensive, realistic, scaled statues that they make.
Top of the line.
And then, so anyways, they come out and they show me the Iron Man that I want, and it's an amazing one.
So they had like already picked out what you'd won.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he like kind of gave you like choose between this stuff.
No.
That is awesome.
So he gave me a Hot Toy, and I was just looking on eBay how much this thing costs, and it's about minimum $300.
That is freaking awesome.
So yeah, so there's that story for that. So.
And it's a really awesome looking statue. What's that? Mark II?
Yeah.
The Mark II Iron Man statue.
Excited. I'm happy. We're gonna continue doing this forever.
Snap a picture of it, man. Throw it on the Instagram.
I'll do that for sure. But besides that's pretty much it. A little quick story on how I tend to win statues all the time.
Our good luck over at the movies.
Or even my daughter with the whole Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, at the convention. Right on. So, what do we got? More news.
Movies for next week.
Movies. I'm actually like looking forward to the Ninja Turtles movie coming out this weekend.
I am too, for nostalgic reasons. Like I already told you, I'm going Friday morning, taking my family.
Yeah, it looks like a fun, just silly.
Critics have already said it. It is what it is. It's nothing too crazy that you're expecting.
That's how I felt after the first one. Was like just sat there and was like, oh, it's a basic Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh, it was, and I enjoyed it, and
it was fun.
People were raging because they don't look like Ninja Turtles or whatever.
That was my only complaint, was I don't like the character design.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, but
I got over
it is what it
quickly. Is. I was like, all right, I'm not letting this dictate anything. But it was fun. So I'm gonna see it. So
I'm looking forward to seeing Stephen Amell as Casey Jones. So that's gonna be weird to see Arrow. One thing about that is you got to catch up on The Flash, because the season finale of The Flash blew my mind.
Okay, I will. I'll binge on that.
Because after you see that, season 3 is just going to be a completely different show.
Okay, I will binge on it this week. This night shifts, I'll binge on it.
All right. I got to catch up on Legends of Tomorrow too, because I know the spoiler of the season finale already. I even mentioned to you who's gonna show up in season 3.
Right.
But I still got to catch up and watch it. More movie news. What do we got coming out?
Warcraft. It's doing amazing overseas.
It's come out overseas. I hate how they come out overseas first.
I don't know the reason behind it.
I don't know either.
Just fluff the numbers for when it comes out here. There's always a rhyme and reason for it. We just don't know about it. But either way, doing amazing overseas. Has yet to open up in China, which they think it's going to just crush. Because, I mean, there's a lot of Warcraft gamers in China. This
is a literal world of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Because this is a worldwide game that people play, and it's a phenomenon. It's
online. So it has its own cult following. So I'm going to see it.
I'm excited.
So far, I mean, everybody said it's pretty good. But I don't know if that's coming from fans that, well, you know what? Let's take it as a good thing. If fans are saying it's a good movie, then it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, because we're the most critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the fantasy tale, orcs and crazy creatures, cool.
Hey, I'm okay with sci-fi.
And another one coming out this month, Independence Day, that sequel.
Yep.
Like I said earlier on when we first saw the trailers, like I didn't know I wanted this movie until I saw the trailer. It looks just like a fun sci-fi crazy
seems like there's non-stop action, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just like Jesus. There's a battle every single time. Battle for Earth, battle on a different planet. It's like there's countless battles, so it's gonna be good.
Along with that, it almost seems like Jeff Goldblum is having kind of a Michael Keaton resurgence, because he's in this movie. He got cast for Thor Ragnarok, and I'm seeing a lot more memes, including him and stuff. So
they're getting their second breath in their career.
It's cool. Jeff Goldblum's always been awesome.
I should say his third breath, because he was a Fly. He's on a lot of major roles.
I don't think he's ever slowed down or ever been out of pop culture.
That is true, and he's an intriguing character. He's very articulate. Like when
That's
he goes and talks,
so
he's very smart. He's odd.
He's odd.
He's odd. I think the fact because he thinks 10 steps before you do, and he's like he talks, catches up to that. You know what I mean? Like you can see how he's like, Jesus, your mind is over here, and you can
even him in the movies. I don't think I haven't seen all his work, but I haven't seen a character that's not basically Jeff Goldblum. Yeah,
just like his essence,
his mannerisms and his way of speaking. Like it's
because his brain is
Jeff
10
Goldblum.
Steps ahead, so his mouth has to catch up to what he's saying.
I mean, no knock on the guy. He's just awesome. He's just awesome.
You want to see the brain out there? See what's going on? Is you put the little water drop in there.
life finds a way.
So anyway, so I'm excited for that. Yeah.
That's pretty much what we got going on. Actually, I
Ghostbusters.
jotted out Ghostbusters. Yeah, Ghostbusters. One little bit of news that we saw I saw yesterday was Dan Aykroyd on his Facebook page said he saw the new Ghostbusters movie and he
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. He liked what he saw. He likes the cast. He likes.
Said it's better than the first 2 Ghostbusters.
He said it's funnier and scarier than the two Ghostbusters combined. It's like
Bam! There you go for all your ragers out there.
this coming from the guy who created this world.
And guess what? He saw it, so he can technically he can voice an opinion more that has more legitimate terms into it.
Granted, he's not gonna say, "Hey guys, don't go see this movie. It sucks."
But if he didn't, he wouldn't even say anything.
Yeah, if he didn't like it, he wouldn't have mentioned that he saw it
No.
at all. You know, there would have been no word about it.
So there you go.
So that's cool. That's good news.
But of course, he's getting rage now.
that even
Oh,
helps.
you're a sellout. Blah blah blah.
I haven't seen that
God
end of it.
dang.
Jeez.
People are
But
gonna
that's
rage.
cool for me because I had been on board with this, and I'm like looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And just even seeing the trailer before X-Men Apocalypse, people were laughing.
Right.
This was the general audience. People were laughing when we watched it with the comic shop.
Oh yeah.
People were booing. It's like, come on,
Get over
guys,
yourself.
relax.
Oh, you know what? One thing I wanted to mention, about the X-Men movie
Huh.
was that sad scene,
Oh yeah.
and I have to talk about it. And the reason want to bring it up is normally when it comes to comic book movies, when we see it with people that are within our means of nerd fandom or whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
they're very expressionate when it comes to things that happen. You know, something happens, we all cheer. Something cool happens, we all applaud. Something crazy happens, we all laugh. You know, we have emotions and we let it out all together.
Yeah.
But this is random people, different backgrounds. Some might be fans, some might want to see an action movie for whatever reason. There's a moment in the movie where Magneto's family is killed. The moment that happens, there is absolute silence.
That was crazy.
Like
that was a good
everybody
moment.
will just silence. Nobody said anything
No,
for
it
the
was
duration of that passionate scene.
the second leading up to it, because you see what happens when the person that causes
hear
the
the
death, you
gasp.
hear the gasp. Everybody at once gasps like, and then silence.
And when Magneto is breaking down, everybody is just quiet. Nobody's saying anything, and that was amazing.
That was cool. That was a cool moment in
My
the
wife
theater.
was crying. Yeah,
That was a real cool.
I
moment.
was like, wow.
I wanted to bring that up when we were talking about it, but but that's cool that you remembered it, brought it back up. What else you got? What is that? War at the end? War and Ghost?
Warcraft.
Warcraft? Ghostbusters? Okay.
No, but I think that's pretty good, man. That's pretty much it.
As far as my end of the spectrum, I mentioned I bought that Ninja Turtle game. I played a couple of hours of it.
Oh, right.
You
You say it was very repetitive.
It's not worth the price point that it's at. Like you said, it should have
Is it-
been more of an arcade.
Yeah, $10, 20, if
20,
max.
$25, but it
Mhm.
was it wasn't a full $60.
Mm-mm.
But it's cool. It's got the cell shading animation. It's really like a button masher. There are some I'm losing it, but there's like a mechanism to it that's
Right.
pretty cool, like the combos and
Okay.
special maneuvers. It seems kind of hectic because you, as a single player, you still
Uh-huh.
have like the 3 rest of the characters play with you, the rest of the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're fighting the enemy, it's just all the mashup of all the 4 turtles. You can't see where you're at really. You
Oh,
can't see
really?
what you're doing much.
Okay.
And story is basic Ninja Turtles. You know, Shredder and Krang gonna take over, and no biggie. One thing that has kind of made it a little better for me was there's there's like charms that you collect. And,
Uh-huh.
and you could add different bonuses to the different characters and stuff. So kind of like
Oh, so you have control to their agilities and
yeah, what
powers.
is it? Turnouts, not turnouts.
Skills? Power sets?
Like a skill set to
Abilities?
each skill set to each turtle.
Mhm.
You can like customize and stuff. So that's cool to like build the turtles, and
Right.
when you get new charms, you can swap them out and level them up and stuff like that. So that's one thing about that game that's pretty cool. That may get repetitive though. Again, I'm only
Yeah,
like
so
2
I'm
hours
gonna hold
into
off.
it.
I'm not gonna buy it then. If
If
would've said-
anything, maybe buy it used to play with, or let her play with it.
Yeah.
But I finally finished Uncharted 4.
How was that?
Just absolutely amazing, dude.
Can't push it anymore, huh?
I cannot hype this game or love this game anymore. Just these last 9 years of playing not consecutive, but like they've been around for 9 years. Just having these characters, and
means to an end.
Just the writing in this game when you're going along, like going through traversing, and you're doing all this stuff. Just the little banter, the little quips that they make to each other and to themselves, and I've never found myself laughing so much throughout a game, being so exhilarated, like my butt clenched and like, oh my god, this is exciting, like, oh, and the set pieces are amazing, the environments are amazing, and I finished the game. Like the last boss battle, it's nothing spectacular. It's your basic like the other previous games. And then once you pass that last boss battle, I realized I set my control down and I'm just watching. Because it's the epilogue. You do play a little. You get to control a character, but it's just like the epilogue of it. It's just like it's an amazing end to the franchise. I can't.
Does it get in? I mean, do you have closure? Like, all right, I'm good with this.
Yeah, it's fine. I'd still love to see more games, but
hey, no, they gotta work on Last of Us 2. Okay.
Now that they're done with this, and
they already said they're working on a new thing right now. They haven't said what. They just said they're working on a new game. That's all they said. They didn't say new IP. They just said new game.
Because coming from these guys, this developer Naughty Dog, they're amazing.
They need to. Sony needs to double time their staff. Let them work on 2 games at the same time. Quadruple their staff.
Again, Uncharted 4, man. You got to get with these. I bought the Uncharted collection. I left it here for you to pick it up when you get a chance.
Oh, cool.
Play. So
I'll get on too as soon as I can. Well, for me, nothing new. I haven't bought anything crazy. Like you just saw me earlier, paying them bills, getting hectic, sweating it out. That's pretty much it, man. Got nothing else, you?
That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening again. Subscribe, like, make comments, ask us questions, guys. We're here to help anybody out. We're here to enjoy it together. We're gonna come in with some new boxes pretty soon. I signed up for Nerd Arcade box or whichever.
Nerd Block? Was it Nerd Block?
Nerd Block, I think.
Okay.
Nerd or Arcade Block. I can't remember, but either way, I'm excited to see that box. Drew just loaded up a review.
That Comic Talk.
So
episode.
check that out. We're talking about a great graphic novel that I've pushed since the beginning of the show.
And I realized after watching it, is like we're gonna get our little board with the notes. We're gonna get it behind the camera.
Yeah, because we
so
kept
that way
looking
we can
down.
look up because we're just like looking down.
It's a learning experience, guys. Thank you for being there with us.
Thanks again.
Los, This is game over.
See you guys.
Have a good night.